Hey guys, there's an idea for you. Chain gangs for folks who qualify and do indeed take advantage of President Obama's and the Republican/Democrat regime's home loan modification plan. But guys, if that's too draconian for you, why not community service? If you're going to redistribute wealth to people who were too irresponsible, too unqualified to pay for their mortgage to begin with, shouldn't the rest of us, we taxpayers, expect something in return? So make them clean up the highways. John Taylor, CEO of the National Community Reinvestment Coalition, you work directly with borrowers, helping them modify their loans and get access to my welfare that could be feeding hungry children. So tell us why you don't think community service for folks who take food, welfare money out of the mouths of hungry kids is not a program that would be appropriate.
Okay, now that I understand you, because when you were describing taking my money and giving it to folks, I thought you were talking about the blue-collar worker taxpayer money that's going to the banks and subsidizing them.
No, I'm talking about protecting the home ownership class.
Right. You do want to protect homeowners who are working, who are willing to pay and able to pay on their mortgage. It's just they ended up in a predatory mortgage, and so what the government and banks and services and others are trying to do is clean up this mortgage mess, because let's face it, look what it's doing to the economy, look how it's driving prices down and values down of houses all over the place. So let's help those who are still working, able to pay on their mortgage. What you're referring to is city's voluntary program. This wasn't anything the government required, but the city, and I think it was a good idea. What they're saying is, look, somebody lost their job, let's give them a few months to try to get on their feet and see whether they can get another job, and then see if they can get back on track with their mortgage. That's a reasonable thing.
That's a government
I don't understand why you don't
John,
start.
let me explain what Cody was trying to ask you.
Okay.
He was should not people who are receiving, government assistance with their mortgage maybe do community service to try to, in exchange for receiving that government help?
Right. So I don't know. Do we when we bail out the banks, are we going to see executives from the banks doing community service?
I'm all for that too.
Are you looking at where the hotels are that they're staying in?
Yes.
And by the way, when you talk about unions, how about having a union person on who can talk about how the unions gave us the weekend and gave us, basically look out for the regular guy getting a decent wage so they can live in this country.
You're changing the topic.
We do, John.
I am, but I mean, I couldn't jump in on that one, so.
We do.
Please, we have a lot of union reps on here. John, let's stay on topic here real quickly. Okay,
yes, sir.
So this mortgage modification plan came out today, and it looks like under the plan, you can drop the floor on the rate to about 2%. You can extend the mortgage to 40 years. You can actually drop the principal of the loan as well. Mm-hmm. Who in the right mind is going to loan any money to anyone else if you can change the rules like this in the middle of the game? It's changing the rule. Cody says it. It's breaking contract law. How come we're subject to that?
Well, first off, what we're doing is trying to deal with a severe crisis, a house that's on fire right now. And if we don't find a way to stop these mounting foreclosures, and in case you haven't heard, we got another 13 million of them facing us right now over the next 4.5 years. So what's been proposed is actually quite reasonable. It's saying, look, everybody comes to the table, the borrower, the lender, the investor, the government, to try to find a way to keep at least those who are still working, still able to pay on their mortgage, to put them in the kind of mortgage, which frankly, Cody, they should have gotten in the first place anyway. They shouldn't have gotten these kind of predatory,
so kick them out of their house. That's all I'm saying. I'm a renter. I've been paying my dues, waiting for real estate prices to come down. Let the market crash so I can buy. I don't want to prop those house prices up.
No, don't let the market crash, because I'm a homeowner,
really?
and I don't want to be underwater.
The market's crashing. Hello. You might not have been looking.
Wait, hey, John, go ahead. But listen. Look at California. California is a great example. Prices in California dropped 40%. The units sold increased 80, 85%. Some people say 100%. The actual dollar amount sold in California year over year last month went up. It's a market clearing the right way.
Well, it's clearing the right way, but if you add, and I don't necessarily agree with that, but if you add another, we have right now, as we speak, 3 million families who are 2 months in arrears on their mortgage because of the terms and conditions have reset. In another month, they'll be in default. If we have 3 million more mortgages, understand this, we've had about 1.6 million mortgages that have had the impact that it has had already on this economy. Add 3 million more foreclosures to that. Don't think this is a market self-correcting. Wake up and smell the roses. We're in a crisis. We've got to come up with sensible, aggressive, proactive ways of dealing with this.
John, as you were saying, too, it's not, I mean, you know, these banks are getting massive amounts of government assistance, you know. If they have to take a haircut, so be it, because they got us into this as well.
Amen to that.
And the haircut is spread out, right? The haircut's spread out.
Especially spread out to the renter and the saver.
Yeah, everybody here can use a haircut.
But let me just tell you.
John, thank you so much. We'll have you back, John. John Taylor, National Community Reinvestment Coalition CEO. On tap next, folks, Julie Rome races for a round of quick shots. Auto sales plunge while the cars pile up. Do you see? Wait till you see these pictures that we're going to show you. Cars everywhere. Is there anything that will ever drive these cars?